Captain Angry said. But we still are, at the end of the day, pirates, and live by the Pirate Codex. And the Pirate Codex prohibits children aboard, as passengers or as labor. He gripped his beard with some distress. And so we are bound to deliver you to the nearest port, even though you have no home in this world. The pirate's humor dipped visibly at his words, and the crew reluctantly nodded and muttered that it was so. But what if we joined the crew? Lila suggested innocently. There was a silence. The sea continued its susurrus, the ship's wooden joints groaned, and somewhere a seagull made a plaintive cry. Yes, Oop added, electrified by the idea. Yes, we can join the crew, become pirates. We have skills. Our magic. We can be pirate wizards. Pirate wizard and pirate enchantress, Lila reminded him. Yes, does the Pirate Codex forbid that? The crew looked at each other in confusion. Children as pirates? They mumbled back and forth. Captain Angry looked thunderstruck by the proposal. Does the Pirate Codex forbid children on the crew? He repeated. In faith it does not. It only says we cannot exploit them. But if you were to sign the contract... And then something struck the savage, shifting the entire sloop of war sideways, toppling everyone over. Screaming and shouting, the crew spilled about, stunned. What the flursting mildrow! The captain howled, dragging himself upright by the mainmast. Crow! He shouted. Up above their heads, a lookout dangled wildly from the mainmast, from which he had been knocked off. Nothing in sight, sir! It can only be... Scarabs! The captain cried. Scarabs! The whisper ran through the petrified crew. What scarabs? Oop asked as Mehua pulled him and Lila up. Masters of the sea, Mehua told them, her expression stricken. Poor ducklings. Our fate is sealed. Arm the cannons! The captain bellowed, shoving his men to their positions. To your posts, men, for your lives! It's no use, the plum blossom widow said, kneeling to clutch the children to her. Brave man. What are scarabs? Lila demanded, her voice warbling with anxiety. The boat suddenly dipped dangerously, the ocean swelling and making it dance about. Pirates scattered here and there, screaming with terror. There, Mehua said, with stoic calm, our end. Oop and Lila turned to see the surface of the sea break. From the water began to rise and continued to rise, something monstrous and enormous, a volume of black so large that it threw the boat in shadow long before it finished rearing its head. An insect it was, but of such mammoth proportion neither of the children had ever seen. A sea scarab with wing fins that shone and glittered magnificent shades of metallic blue and green. If the sloop was 30 meters long, the scarab was 2 or 3 times its size, dwarfing the boat. Oop! Lila shrieked, grabbing his arm in an unbreakable grip. Oop was frozen, white-faced, unable to process the sheer size of the creature. Below deck! The captain was with them now, hauling Mehua to her feet. Get them below! She obeyed instantly, but with an expression that betrayed that she knew there was no saving any of them. Lila went quietly, struck dumb with fear, but Oop pulled his hand free from the plum blossom widows and moved to the side of the wildly swaying boat, as if in a trance. His hand went into his pocket even as he saw the scarab right itself, gaining its balance as it loomed over them, tall as any building in Mumbai. Its eyes were massive, an array of black orbs that multiplied its angles of vision. Its horrendous black mandibles spread open to let loose a bellowing sequence of clicks that deafened them all. Oop popped a wish candy into his mouth and whispered, I wish to be master of the sea scarabs. The candy tasted of many different types of melon, refreshingly sweet, and then veered to wild mint after 2 bites. The sharpness of the mint bloomed, buzzed on his tongue, a buzzing that suddenly shot out through his skull like a miniature cyclone passing through all his brain cells in a moment before disappearing. Instantly Oop knew the creature's mind, knew its alien ways and thoughts of the deep, fathomed its sweeping emotions and unassailable spirit. It was angry and sad, like all of its kind, and in its anger and sadness it destroyed all the boats of these terrestrial invaders. It was an act of revenge, Oop realized, of desperate revenge for an unforgivable crime. With a grimace, Oop pulled himself back from the Scarab's thoughts, lest he be swept into them for too long. He had to save them now while there was still a chance. But how? There was only one thing he could think of. "Stop!" Oop cried out, shouting as loud as his small voice could, putting out one hand towards the Scarab. The Scarab stopped. Around the ship, the sea swells receded. Pirates sat up and craned their necks to see the little boy at the boat's railing, holding up one hand in defiance of the mammoth creature. "Move back! Slowly!" Oop yelled. The Scarab waved its flippered legs in huge, gentle sweeps, pulling itself backwards and away from the savage. Its long shadow slipped off the ship, allowing the sun to illuminate the wondering faces of the pirates. "Go away! Go back in peace to where you live!" Oop commanded. The Scarab's body sank into the sea, taking a long moment due to its sheer size, until its chitinous head dipped underwater. With that, the sea scarab disappeared. There was nearly a minute of stillness on the ship. Then Captain Angry came up to Oop and rumbled, "Bring out the contract, me scrumminets. We'll make pirates of these two, and if any says nay, he can swim with the scarabs." "Sign them up, Captain," the Black Caesar called out from the tangle of ropes he had fallen into, "with all our eyes on deck." "Aye," the pirates echoed. "Sign 'em up! Aye!" And that was how Oop and Lila became pirates.